Hey, and welcome to another episode of AT Banter.
Banter, banter.
Hey, this is, of course, the podcast where we talk with advocates and members of the disability community to educate and inspire better conversation about disability. Hey, my name is Rob Minot, and joining me today, the Ryanists of Flurries, Mr. Ryan Flurry.
Yo, dog.
And hey, look who else it is. It's Miss Liz Malone.
Yeah, I didn't have to wash my hair tonight, so I showed up. So
Well, that's good.
Very
welcome.
kind of you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, it is kind of you. How are you doing?
I've been fine.
Listen, don't start with that because you're here to sabotage the show. I swear.
Are you having pasta for dinner tonight, Liz?
Yeah,
I'm
we'll
having
have some pasta.
Pasta and beans and bean good.
And climb up on your roof.
I don't understand your whole Canadian thing. What?
Listen, you've been doing the podcast for how many years now? You should be used to our Canadian isms.
I
And
know,
nothing should surprise you anymore.
but it's still a little, nails down a chalkboardish kind of thing happening. But
Listen,
I call it like it is, Liz. That's good.
it's just look.
Yeah.
Last episode that we recorded, I sat through so many beans and more beans, and not the kind of beans that make you toot. The other bean, Canadian bean. So,
well, listen, you should be happy then that this whole 51st state thing has fallen through, because then we'd be just up in your face annoying the hell out of you every day.
you'd be eating
Our
pasta
beans.
instead of pasta.
We'd be getting you learned on the English vocabulary.
Yeah. There you go.
Whatever.
Anyways, enough of this. Let's get started with the show because I am very excited about today's show. So, hey, Ryan.
Hey, Rob.
Just what the heck are we doing today?
Today we are speaking with Hall of Fame inventor Garrett Brown and Rick Sherak, CEO of Exokinetics, about a product called Zeen, which sounds pretty spectacular. So, gentlemen, thank you for being here today.
Thank you.
Well, thank you, Ryan, Liz, and Rob, and Liz. I just wanted to let you know I didn't have to wash my hair either. So, I'm right there with you. Don't let the glare off. Don't let that distort me too much.
Well,
Oh,
wonderful. Well, maybe we'll get started by just maybe just giving us a little bit of background on about yourselves before we start to dive in and talk about the zine in particular. So maybe just give us a little bit of background on yourselves.
Okay, my background's much shorter than Garrett's background.
I'm older.
So there you go.
A background takes time.
Well, you're exactly right. But back in the day, I started off as an Air Force officer out of college and served my country and got out as a captain. And, what a great master class in leadership and teamwork and mission that experience was. But, I decided to go into the medical diagnostic industry. So 25 short years later, I had the pleasure of watching the whole field of medical diagnostics, especially for cancer diagnostics, grow from a very, small technological application to genomic profiling in that period of time. And it was a great ride. But toward the end, I really started steering my outlook more toward medical devices. And that's how I ended up at Exokinetics. I, combined my medical domain experience with my engineering experience and commercialization of device experience, so I could come on board this company and promote the zine. And we'll talk about the zine, I'm sure, later. But I tell you, it's been a wonderful opportunity for these last 15 months that I've been here at the company to work with such wonderful people and have a mission of truly addressing mobility challenges that people have and giving them confidence and freedom and independence again with the mobility that they have left.
Well said. Well said. Philly's been good to me. I moved here, as they say, in third grade and was a normal kid, except that I was sick in bed for 6 months and read the World Book Encyclopedia and became a wild reader at a young age. And that actually he takes a sip of water, folks. That's what that was about. Certified water. He's holding it up to the camera. Yeah, it actually served me well because I've invented a few things and they can't be found in the World Book, but the technology, Newtonian physics, schoolboy physics has served me very well, you know. I invented something called the Steadicam, which is all over the world. That lets people run and walk and climb stairs with cameras, and it's smooth. That was because I had a little film company in Philly and had a huge dolly, and I was so motivated to ditch the dolly and disconnect the camera from the person. I'm going into detail here because there are aspects of this that showed up in the zine much later. Among other things, the Steadicam lifts cameras up to 70 pounds, kind of hanging on an arm and a vest that you wear, so that it's a fingertip operation to move them around in space. It does all the lifting, and if you can picture it, you have a stabilized camera anywhere you can reach and anywhere you can go with your legs. The mobility of a camera was key to that, and it got me an Oscar, and it got me in the Inventing Hall of Fame and a slew of other golden objects. And it gave me a taste for the idea of inventing, which is, at its simplest, identifying something that's missing and going after it, you know. And that's something we all need to do, and we need to teach kids to do and think about, you know, because humanity at this stage needs to invent its way out of some pretty dire possibilities in the future, you know. But all those inventions, the camera ones, including Skycam, are, I admit it, fluffy little objects that, you know, don't change lives. They just are amusing and interesting and make movies more interesting. But a challenge came up in 2013 when I was watching my dad with his cohort of people on walkers and wheelchairs. And it occurred to me that walkers and wheelchairs hadn't changed for, you know, half a millennium. And they were not that impressive. People fall. I watched guys falling off of walkers. They're demeaning, they're in the way, they hurt your shoulder muscles and so on. And wheelchairs are, in effect, a one-way ticket to not walking. So here we are. I'm sitting watching my dad's pals and going, gosh, there has to be something better than this. Something that helps with fall prevention, something that isn't in the way, something that does the lifting like I did with cameras, but now for 250 pounds of humanity, you know, because these old fellows, they happen to be all old guys that I was watching. Yeah, they couldn't get out of a chair without heaving and hauling and doing the old 1, forward 2, forward 3, and lurch to their feet in a painful looking thing. And I thought, you could list the stuff that's missing. Could it all be one gadget, you know, one device? And that started what amounted to a 10-year project. We got it invented. It actually did all those things spectacularly. But yours truly was running the company as a kind of fake CEO, because I'm not a CEO guy. And we needed a real CEO, and we needed an enlightened investor to carry us forward to profitability. And both of those commodities showed up about a year and a half ago, that famous 15 months that Rick just mentioned. And when they strolled into my life, then it became spectacular because I could semi-retire. Rick's a marvelous CEO. And our patron, Steve Kelly, who's a very philanthropic and very wealthy gentleman, which is, those two don't go together often, you know, often enough. You just don't hear the expression philanthropic and billionaire in the same sentence too often. There are a couple, and now there's another one, Steve Kelly, you know. So he saw what we were doing, and we've been changing lives with this thing. People that were at fall risk can tool around their environment very happily at speeds that exceed walking speed, coasting on the Zeen. They can stroll and walk and go up and down safely. They can duck down to tie their shoes or get something in a low shelf. They can pop up high to reach a high shelf. And as Rick very eloquently tells us, they are at a sociable altitude. When they're up high on the Zeen, which has a saddle that sort of allows you to perch on it as you need, and a seatbelt so you can't fall off. When you're elevated to your standing height, you're at the height of humanity, where we socialize, where we talk with our peers. And that is one of the things that people cherish beyond anything. So yours truly, the fluffy inventor of Steadicam, is pretty happy with this one, I must say.
Can you kind of give the audience sort of a bit of a snapshot then, a brief overview of just how it works and what it can actually do above and beyond a regular wheelchair?
But unlike traditional wheelchairs and walkers, right, the Zeen has a motor-free technology that Garrett developed that lifts up to 75% of a person's body weight from a seated position to a standing position. And that is very novel and extremely unique, right, for mobility devices in today's world. The neat thing is that you're fully supported through your hips and your buttocks, right? Because like Garrett said, you're supported by this large bicycle type seat. And that enables you to safely walk upright, spine straight, with the option of not even holding on to anything. And that again is something completely foreign to other mobility devices available to the market today. And the neat thing is, when you're walking, you can use your hands, but when you need to rest, all you have to do is simply bend your knees and rest your weight on that large seat, right? And that's a big deal for people with mobility loss because they're constantly, if they're on a walker, they're always looking for a park bench or somewhere to sit. Here with the Zeen, your seat is with you at all times. And the neat thing, like Garrett alluded to, is that you can sit on a Zeen at standing height. And we call this the bar stool mode, right? You can sit at a high enough height where now your eyes are level with a person that's just about 6 foot tall. And that does so much for our customers, for their psychology, for their their pride, their self-worth. It brings them into the conversation. And what we say is that it enables them to interact with family and friends at eye level. So, the Zeen really is focused on enhancing quality of life, but also giving people with mobility loss that dignity that they so deserve.
There are a number of benefits to being upright as compared to being seated in a wheelchair, and they involve cardiac benefits, bone density, digestive health, a host of physiological benefits where stuff just works better if you're upright. And upright is upright. If you're upright on a Zeen, you get those benefits.
Absolutely.
So Garrett, what was kind of the light bulb moment then for you? Because people, for like you said, for many years, people were just like, a chair is a chair, like that. That's it. That's the only solution that is ever going to be applicable. What kind of technology did you latch onto, and what was kind of the light bulb moment to really push you forward?
Well, unfortunately for me, I've never been one of those, eureka leap up out of the bath with the full idea in my head. I'm good at detecting things that are missing, but it's a slugfest getting it, whatever it is, to work. You have to just do the hard work of imagining every aspect of it. What's it feel like, That was a years-long process. In fact, we first made a unit that was heavy and large and did not fold thinking that it might be an institutional object, that you would be in a rehab hospital and that you'd use it while you were there. Or if you were lucky in a care home, they might assign one to you and you would have one in your space. And then it became clear to us that people wanted to take this thing, fold it, and throw it in their trunk and go places. And that caused us to shut the whole process down. Financially, a disaster because we had one that worked, but we were so convinced that the folding lightweight version was the future that we shut it down, re-engineered it for a year and a half, and then reintroduced it. And boy, was that the right choice because people love to grab it. We have a gizmo that helps you get it in your trunk, a very simple lifting frame, a lifting kind of cloth thing, actually, with straps that allows anybody to lift it in a trunk with half the normal effort. And they want to go. They want to go to the mall. They want to go to industrial shows or large department stores or supermarkets. And the ability to be not just horizontally mobile, but vertically mobile is hugely important. I mean, just picture yourself in a supermarket, tooling along, pushing your cart because there's nothing in front of you. And now you want something on the bottom shelf, grab a lever, drop down, grab it, pop back up. And I can't emphasize too much, guys, and Liz, that this kind of lifting is not like we've seen with lifting chairs for old people, which are motorized and they go kind of with incredible slowness, getting you to your feet. And in fact, turning into a ski slope while they're doing it. This lifts you like you were 30 years younger. This just, you almost can't tell it's doing it. It's just your muscles are suddenly sufficient to get you to your feet at any speed you want. And that's a very humanist kind of lifting, and people love it.
Yeah, yeah, they do. And, that's a very good point, Garrett. The lifting from seated to standing, is just revolutionary and life-giving, right? But the key thing that I think the zine truly brings is, and you said it earlier, Garrett, is that it removes this horrible fear of falling that people with mobility loss suffer from every day. Falling for anyone is, extremely dangerous and could be catastrophic. But when you're compromised and you fall and don't have the ability to mitigate that fall, and it could be just horrible. So the fear of falling is one of our key features that we're able to eliminate with the zine. And in fact, when we demonstrate the zine to people, I have this fantastic staff that does demonstrations every day. We have webinars daily and training sessions. They will simulate a fall with their hands above, in the air, their feet off the ground, like somebody's ready to do a face plant. And the zine will hold you suspended in that position to enable you to regain your balance and regain your composure and prevent falling.
The young people call it the Superman position, which it makes me laugh.
And it's not the most comfortable thing to do, but I tell you, it's a lot better than falling. We service so many different kind of wonderful, courageous people with the zine. People that are suffering from chronic illness. People and chronic illness could be anything from MS to Parkinson's to ataxia to cerebral palsy, or people that are recovering from injury, and many people recovering from strokes are ideal candidates for the zine. And finally, just elderly people, like what inspired Garrett at the very beginning. When your knees hurt and your hips hurt and your endurance goes down and you can't breathe that well because you get so tired, the zine is ideal for those people to regain their freedom and their ability to be independent and active, have that active lifestyle again.
And you should see somebody, young or old, faced with a long corridor to get from their room to the dining place, which, care homes seem to mysteriously always do. They seem to delight in putting a half-mile corridor between where you live and where you eat. And you watch the cohort going down that corridor on walkers, and you watch a zine owner going by at, 7 or 8 miles an hour, coasting. And the pure hatred of the people on walkers for the zine. No, no, I'm kidding. Pure admiration, I'm sure. I'm sure.
I'm totally blind, and many of our audience are blind, partially sighted, not all, but many. So can you describe in some more detail what the zine actually looks like? Is it, because I'm picturing a bike seat with a seat belt, but you're saying it goes up and down and it
Yes.
balances you. So I'm looking at.
Let me do that for you. Let's build this out from a comfy seat that has a saddle component on front. Okay. In your mind, add a backrest that moves with that seat so you can always lean back. From that backrest, add a pair of really clever patented seat belts that extend enough to get you to the front of it. And then if you're sitting on it, they retract so the seatbelt isn't clanging around, your upper thighs. All right.
Mm-hmm.
So now that you have that in your mind, but that's floating in space, a backrest and a saddle. It is actually elevated by a pair of arms on either side, kind of subtle. We call them lifting arms. And each pair of them on left and right are driven by a small gas spring, the size, I would say, of a pencil case, if that, and those arms are attached now to a frame, and the frame has a very elegant, almost Victorian shape to it, a kind of smooth curve from the front casters down a little bit, past the rear casters, and then up and curving forward to turn into an armrest when you're seated. So when these arms are at their lowest position, these armrests are right there for your arms. At the front of the armrests, rising up and down with the seat, are a pair of handlebars that fold out. So when you're up high and rolling and strolling, you've got these foldable handlebars out that have brakes in front of you. So the stuff that moves up and down is the saddle seat, the backrest, and the handlebars. What stays put is the frame with the four casters, which is the mount for the lifting arms. They are, if you're interested, a pair of parallelograms, one on each side, so that when they lift, what they lift stays upright. And it could not be simpler. You've got brakes that operate the rear brakes. Casters are four casters. And if you recall contemplating caster type devices, they're very hard to steer because four casters just go anywhere. And a crucial invention for the zine, invented by an early partner of ours, is a dual state caster, so that when you go forward, they track like a dream. But the minute you start to go backwards, the minute that the caster is halfway around from front to rear, it changes its state. The axle change takes a different angle, and now it will very happily back up or go sideways and so on. And that is a subtle thing that means that when you coast with wonderful straight tracking. And when you back up or go sideways, you can go anywhere. It was important to us that you can maneuver in your kitchen with nothing in front of you, still perfectly safe, and cook. You can clean if somebody forces you to with a vacuum cleaner or even a broom.
Right.
You can go down and load a dishwasher and all the humble things that we love to do in our dwellings. And you can go into an elevator and spin in your own position without moving. This thing does 360s in place because of the four casters. So if you picture something with front casters, which most walkers have, and wheelchairs, and rear fixed wheels, for you to turn, you have to either spin on those rear wheels in a wheelchair, or In a walker, you have to back and fill and go forward and backward in order to make a turn, you know?
One final thing too, Garrett, that will paint the the final strokes of the picture is that the zine is fully adjustable. We can through some adjustable blocks, we call them, that go up and down the frame that Garrett had described, have positions from 1 to 13. And at position 1, we've had 6-year-old children use the zine at position 1. And that keeps the seat down, and it only allows it to rise just a tad, right? So that it's down low enough for a child. And then as you increase the positions up the frame, you're able to accommodate a person up to 6'3" tall. And those pistons that Garrett was mentioning that give you that ability to go vertically mobile from seating to standing, we have 3 sets of those for lightweight users down to 50 pounds, standard user, and then all the way just recently, and we'll be introducing this here probably in the next 60 days, we'll be able to accommodate users up to 325 pounds with what we call heavy springs. And that adjustability of height and weight makes the zine so customizable to each and every user. And for children, they can literally grow with the device, which is one of the reasons the pediatric setting is so popular for our zine device.
And one more thing for your mental picture. At the front of each armrest, there's a lever underneath the armrest that you can grab with your fingers while your hands are on the armrest. And that lever releases the pins that allow it to go up and down. So if you want to raise with the zine, you pull that lever and bounce a little bit, because it won't let you go up if there's load on the pins that hold it in place. But if you unload those pins by either going down or up as required slightly, the pin retracts and you can go up as high as you want, any place on the way up to your full height, and release that lever, and boom, it locks you at any height you want. So very often you would be happy at a half height doing some task, or working at a desk, or even coasting is fun, slightly lower than your max height. So the zine only has 2 basic controls. One is brakes and one is the seat height position. The adjustment that Rick was referring to is kind of a one-time adjustment where you remove the stop momentarily and rise as high as you want, and then reset the max height. So that means you can go right up to it, and go up and collide with it if you want, and that's your max height. Release the lever and you're there. It's extremely intuitive and easy.
And yet it takes a beautiful mind to come up with a creation like that.
You're too kind. It took a lot of minds and more time than you would care to imagine when you start a project. They're never easy. They're always harder. I started at age 71. I'm 83, and the zine is coming into its own. Not too late for my satisfaction, but
well, it sounds incredible.
There was a time long about age 81 and 2 that I thought, oh my God, what have we started?
Well, and it's funny, we've all been in the assistive technology field for quite a while, and innovation can be very slow in this field for whatever reason, for multiple reasons.
Oh my, yes.
I won't bore the audience with, but this is, the amazing thing about this is that, no person's mobility challenges are the same. Like everybody has different range of mobility or different, that's why we hear stories all the time about, people confronting people that are, standing, loading their wheelchair into their car, accusing them of faking it, where it's not understanding that, well, maybe they don't need the chair 24/7. They have
Yeah.
some mobility. There's all of these. It's a gradient. We keep saying that on the podcast all the time. Disability is a gradient, and nobody's challenges are the same. And so the great thing about this device is that it's really going to be a good fit for anybody, no matter what their particular challenges are.
Can I say also that antisociability and stupidity are also a gradient, from
That's true.
very stupid and very antisocial people to remarkably kind and wonderful people. So,
True.
You can't guarantee not being called out by a moron, no matter what you do.
But to your point, Rob, the way that my team, and I'm so proud of my team, I couldn't be, they are truly the best team I've worked with in my long career. They are the most compassionate, kind, patient people you'll ever meet. And I have people on my team that are 24 years old up to 60 plus, right? And every interaction we have with a new person, just like you said, we have to meet them where they are. We have to understand what they can do, what they can't do. We have to understand their goals. What do they want to do? What are they afraid to do? And, each and every opportunity to interface with these, and I always say courageous because they are some of the most courageous people I've ever met that are facing these mobility challenges with courage and bravery, right? But I tell you, the number one quality of a person that will make a zine successful is determination. It's not a silver bullet, right? You can't just hop in a zine and all of a sudden everything is just perfect. You got to work at
What?
Yeah. Garrett, put your hand over your ears and take those earbuds out for a second. But I'll tell you a quick story, and it's just amazing. A young lady, her name was Kim, and she came in. She has a debilitating chronic illness called ataxia, where the body thinks that the cerebellum is a foreign object and it attacks it, right? And your cerebellum is what makes everything coordinated and balance and strength, et cetera. And she got in the zine, and we got her in, and we said, okay, Kim, walk, right? She went from seating to standing with the levers, and she just stood there. She looked at her legs, and she said, move. And her legs barely moved. I mean, just barely. And she couldn't even get a full foot forward. And she was so frustrated. And we said, wow, I'm sorry this isn't working out for you. And she looked at me, or not me, she looked at one of my colleagues and said, this is exactly what I need. She goes, I'm going to practice and I'm going to walk again. And son of a gun, she bought the zine, she took it home, and every day she got in that zine and just stared at those legs and just said, walk. And long story short, 6 months later, we get videos of her on trips with her husband, walking in her zine, right? Her husband sends us a video saying, hey, I just dropped Kim off at the high school track and she's doing her laps. I'm going to go over here and check, and walk around the park a little bit. I don't have to worry about her. She's exercising and she can't fall. So I don't have to worry about her falling. But that transformation of someone that could barely motivate her body, now with the zine and her determination and just fight attitude, completely changed her life around.
If you want to see everything, including some amazing videos and some what we call eye-level chats with users, don't miss going to GoZeen, GoZeen.com, GoZeen.com. So there's some great stuff on it, including a video of the history of how it came about, which has some comical elements. And and is actually some inspiring stories there, and also any details in case you're more interested,
Yeah. It's really an interesting business, trying to help people with mobility challenges, and the story of the zine is wonderful. The company is designed to help people see if the zine is a good fit for them, and to work with them and to be with them and coach them, right, with this technology. But beyond that, this is truly it's a calling for a lot of us, right? We're trying to see if we can make a difference and help people get back to an active lifestyle that many cases think that they'll never have an active lifestyle again.
Yeah.
So please check out the website. As I mentioned earlier, we have daily webinars where you just dial in and you can watch one of my team demoing, showing you the zine, showing you the functionality, taking questions. And if you have any questions or whatever, just please call us. I have the greatest staff, as I mentioned, and they're just fun people to talk to, and they're there for you. So
Are you guys sort of collaborating with different, like, say, healthcare providers or rehabilitation centers or something
yes.
to try to sort of get the zine in front of people? Because I would think that marketing wise and with the medical model of disability, what it is, a lot of doctors will just be like, okay, yeah, you're in a chair and that's it.
So our market segments are interesting. The biggest market segment is 70% of our business, and that's people calling in, right? That see the zine on social media or hear about it and saying, hey, I want this for me, right? That's our direct to consumer segment. But to your point, we just started, and it was only in September of last year. I put together a embryonic field sales team, right? And we are going out there. We're calling on rehab hospitals, large medical institutions, right? And again, we're not cold calling any of these. These institutions are seeing the zine and they're calling us, going, "You've got to come out and talk to our staff," mostly physical therapists or occupational therapists. We're at a neurology convention in Atlanta this week because the Emory neurologists are just so amazed with the zine and what it can do for reestablishing the neural pathways from brain to legs, right? We visit almost on a weekly basis. The sales team goes into VA hospitals throughout the country, primarily some of these polytrauma centers in the VA network that really focus on people with mobility disabilities. And like I mentioned earlier, we're often invited into children's hospitals because the zine is such a novel way for children to weight bear on their legs safely, not fall, and actually grow with this device and not have to buy a new device every 6 months or so. So it's kind of fun. We have all these segments, and I haven't even talked about our, elderly segment, where we also go to many of these senior communities and try to, show people the zines and a lot of the seniors out there are looking for something that they can exercise with. They may not have complete mobility loss, but they have endurance issues, right? So one device really fits a lot of different opportunities.
I'm just curious, what kind of response have you been getting from the insurance carriers? Because obviously there are so many benefits to this. It completely blows the wheelchair away on so many levels. And then I could definitely see this being something that when you demo it to those who could really benefit from this type of new adaptive equipment, just being completely blown away. And then, you always are faced with the age-old question, will insurance help me pay for this?
No.
And then, of course, insurance carriers are looking at the price of a wheelchair versus the price of, this technology, which, of course, it's shit. I'll just say it's really shitty that we have to put such a price on quality of life, but it is sort of like a reality in the United States. So I'm just kind of curious what sort of feedback you've been getting and as the acceptance, is it gradually coming? Is it kind of a case by case? People are having to fight these battles?
Yeah. Well, everything you said is true, actually, Liz. You know, we're preparing to approach CMS, which manages Medicare and Medicaid, right? We've hired several consultant firms that are advising us. And bottom line, we got to prove the zine's benefit in clinical studies. So we have clinical data to go to the government with to say, hey, you know, this is clinical supportive data that the zine is good for you, you know, good for your weight bearing, good for your mobility, good for your quality of life, good for your digestive system, cardiovascular, whatever, you know, whatever the study endpoints are. But those studies take so much time. Luckily, we have some partners out there that are in the early stages of getting the studies off the ground, which is wonderful. But in the meantime, it's like what you said. It's, you know, people saying, hey, I need this. I'm going to buy it. And then I'm going to go after my insurance company to see if they'll reimburse me. We have some of our clients that just, you know, hammer their insurance companies until, you know, they get authorization or get partial payment for the zine. But the zine is a premium price device. And, you know, wheelchairs range from $620 to $25,000. The zine is right around the $5,000 mark. So it's not the most expensive by far mobility device out there, but it is so multifunctional that for $5,000, your value is immense. You know, getting the world's best transport chair, you know, a sit to stander, a stander, a walker, you know, fall prevention device, all in one. Yeah. Really adds to that value of that $5,000.
Well, and especially when the device can grow with you, right? So for a kid, it's a no-brainer.
Yeah. So for, you know, because we realize that our potential customer base out there, a lot of them, you know, are on disability subsidies, are Medicaid, you know, recipients, and you know, a $5,000 device is a lot of money and a challenge for them financially. So mid last year, right after I joined, we created a foundation, and it's called Project Elevate Mobility. And the foundation is designed to not just, you know, raise money and give zines to people. It's actually designed to meet people halfway. So it's a dollar match program. So for every dollar they put into their zine, the foundation, you know, matches that dollar. So what it does is it gives them an opportunity to, you know, take ownership of their purchase of the zine, and, you know, with dignity, you know, earn or save or crowdfund, you know, they're half the cost, and then the foundation through donated funds will cover the other half. And it's been amazingly successful. We have a waiting list now. We need more donors. We need more generous people and corporations out there to help us. But I tell you, it's just phenomenal when people have skin in the game to get a, you know, revolutionary mobility device for their life enhancement. They're so proud of themselves. And as I said, that dignity component is just wonderful. And yeah, so we would love to have some more generous donations, you know, to help, you know, with these grants. It's just such an important project.
Yeah, and that funding and those grants, they are really life-changing for people. And I mean, this device, you know, is, you know, marketing speak throws around the term revolutionary a lot. But I would challenge anybody in the audience to go check out the website, go watch the videos, and it will blow your mind. This is really an amazing device, and you're really pushing or whatever, driving the football forward in terms of some real innovation in that in that mobility space. So thank you guys for all of the work that you guys are doing, and for really getting this device out there into the world.
Thank
Well,
you.
thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, guys. And listen, hats off to you, all three of you. This is a wonderful outlet. Congratulations on having this type of podcast. I think it's very important. You're doing good work. You're making humankind better by what you do, and this gives us an opportunity to hopefully reach out and find people that might be interested in our Zeen device. So thank you very, very, very much for inviting us and for hosting us tonight.
Absolutely. And before we let you go, please plug both the foundation and the website again for people, just so they can go check it out.
So the website is gozeen.com, GOZEEN.com, and our foundation is Project Elevate Mobility.
Ooh, wait, one more question before I let you go. I forgot about this one. The
Does
name.
it come in multiple colors?
Oh, well, okay, there are two questions.
If you like black, no.
Can you explain the origin of the name for us real quick before?
Yes, happily.
Garrett.
The idea of being on a saddle and being able to coast with your feet on the ground was actually pioneered by Baron von Drees in 1816. He invented the Zeen, was what he called it, self-referentially. It was called what did the Brits call it? The hobby horse. But the young bucks loved this thing because they could coast over the countryside. It had steering and it had a saddle. And they had races with, we suspect, old beat up horses that the Zeen folks won. But in homage to Baron von Drees, the Zeen part ended up as the Zeen. That's where it began, based on the Zeen. We're the Zeen. We're the coasting, emulating, getting around part. It's a pretty thin connection, I admit, but it's all we got.
Love it. Love it.
We wanted a word that didn't mean anything else in any other language.
Yeah.
Because my ancestors and my dad and my uncles got in trouble, with various names that suddenly meant something elsewhere. My uncle had Corfam was the name of the shoe, the fake leather that DuPont did, and he was responsible for it. And to his horror, he found out that meant body of woman in French. And what was the name of the automobile that in Spanish means doesn't go or won't go? These are problems that you need to research in advance.
Yeah.
That's funny.
We only discovered one foreign language where the word Zeen means something else, and it's not dirty or unpleasant. So we're fine. Yeah.
Nice.
Perfect.
And as far as the colors, Ryan, we're happy to say the Zeen comes in 3 colors: black, black, and black.
What about cup holders? Can I get cup holders?
We do. We have a whole series of accessories.
Nice.
Yeah,
trimmed in red. Very stylish.
I get a little horn.
Yes.
Beep.
You know what, Liz? If you want a horn, we'll make one for you.
I need a horn and headlights because
Yep. There you go.
I'm a very dangerous driver.
Well, we've actually observed people that in the euphoria of the Zeen are taking off and they feel like objects in a pinball machine for a while, and they don't care. You're pretty much invulnerable in the Zeen. You can crash into stuff. So.
Nice.
Well, and we are seriously thinking about having a signature color every year, like a limited number. I don't know how many, but just something, like 2025 could be the orange Zeen year or something along those lines. So
I like that.
always willing to take advice from you guys if you have some.
We're just a bunch of blind people. We don't.
We
know.
got some great.
Well, I'll have color advice from you guys. That'll be great. Thank you so much.
They obviously have not listened to our show because we are like the idea factory.
That's true.
Yeah.
Especially when it comes to food.
Especially food.
Ooh.
We came up.
You've hit the key word. I'm going to listen to it now.
Oh, that's awesome.
We
Well,
wanted to create
again,
a
what a
meeting.
pleasure. You guys do great work. And again, thank you very much.
Thank you. And please feel free to come on again anytime. If you know anything we can help with, we're happy to have you.
Great.
Yeah, no.
Okay.
Excellent.
Wonderful.
Maybe when we have an update or a new color or something like that.
Absolutely.
I think one of us needs to buy a zine so we can get some cool video. And
I think we all need to buy one so we can have races.
I know.
Let me tell you again, just probably TMI, but every one of the people in the company has a zine, has their own zine, and we use them as office chairs. They are the world's best office chairs because you can sit high. You have those desks that raise, and all of us are sitting just, at about 6.5 feet tall, working at our desks. It's really fun. And then you're right, we can have spontaneous races.
Yeah. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, you so much, Garrett.
Have a great rest of your evening, and we'll talk again.
Okay. All right. Sounds wonderful.
Take care, guys.
Good luck to you.
So cool.
I'd love to see one of these things. It sounds pretty incredible.
They did a great job in describing it, much better than I certainly could.
Yeah.
It's very futuristic. Like
it's honestly, in a perfect world, we would just be like, oh, this replaces a wheelchair. Like, why have wheelchairs? Like, this is just better in every single sense. Just stop making wheelchairs, like, because this works for anybody. I mean, pretty much, it's just going to be better all around. So
that's really not bad. Like, if you look at blindness products, we have $8,000 note takers.
Oh, no, totally. When you said
$5,000 is really, at the end of the day, a drop in the bucket when it comes to something that gives you the independence. It sounds like this thing will do for some people.
on the scale of adaptive products.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know what a power wheelchair goes for, but
and if with a power wheelchair, you get batteries you got to charge, or there's a whole bunch of other issues that come with that, right?
Sure.
This has no motorized parts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I mean, power wheelchairs, I mean, for some people, there probably are, like, that's a needed technology.
Sure.
They actually need the power wheelchair part of it. But, it just blows my mind. It just really
this isn't an end all be all. It's not like they said, it's not a silver bullet for everybody, right?
Nope.
There are people that chairs are necessary.
Well, Liz, you better get your color request in.
I know. I'm going to. I need. Of course, you know me. I'm high maintenance. I need mine retrofitted.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to get yours the same color as the New Jersey Devils jersey.
I was just thinking.
I know you.
Yeah, maybe get their logo on it. You could make it a branded New Jersey Devils zine.
And I'm good with just putting my own decals on it.
See, all these sports arenas, they should all have one or two of these so that people can borrow them.
Oh, they need to have them in every supermarket so we can get rid of those scary things that these folks drive around in, and it feels very dangerous.
Yeah, it sounds incredible.
It's an incredible device. Again, I would really recommend everybody go check it out. Check out the website, of course, which will be in the show notes, and go check out these videos because it's pretty remarkable.
All right, so let's wrap up with our hockey update, and then I'm going for dinner.
Okay. Sounds good.
So, Rob.
Yes.
You have officially won.
What? Yes.
Yeah.
Really?
So,
wait, what happened?
Okay, because Edmonton made it into the finals, that pretty much just pushed you over the top. Yeah, damn freaking.
It basically knocked Steve out, and you.
Yeah, you ended up with 9 points. Now you could end up with another 8 points.
Okay.
If the Oilers win. Okay. So the only one you have not officially beaten is Artie.
Artie, our artificial intelligence.
So Artie is at 16 points.
Hokey Dinah.
Now, he already completely fell apart in the end, but it was amazing how Artie got all the other picks right because I think Artie was cheating. I know. So much for the prompt of, yeah, disregard the current
Yeah.
standards in the NHL and not, yeah. So that was Artie was freaking lying. So, um, because after that, all the later picks were all completely wrong. So,
Wow, really? Okay,
yeah, so
so
Artie is at 16 points. Now, if the Oilers win,
uh-huh.
you will have beaten Artie by 1 point
Ooh,
And so
okay.
has
Well,
the
this is
finals,
pressure.
have the finals started now?
today.
Tonight they
At
start.
least
Okay.
today, the day we're recording.
Game one, right.
Right now, we are
Wow.
one. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. Like I said, all thanks to a thrift store sweater.
Yep.
Yeah, there you go. So it's Edmonton and the Panthers are in the finals.
Yep.
Correct. Correct.
Okay, well, there you go. We'll go Edmonton.
Boo.
Go Sports. Why you're hoping for the Panthers?
Well, yeah.
It's her second favorite team.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay, well, there you go.
Don't you
Well,
listen to AT Banter, Rob?
I don't listen to anything.
Thank you, Ryan. I'm glad someone listens.
Ah, Lord. Okay, let's get out of here.
Let's go.
Yeah, I hear your darn stomach's
Oh, it's been
growling.
in there for the last half an hour.
You need some pasta.
Pasta.
That's right.
Eat some pasta with some tomatoes,
Yeah.
potatoes, potatoes.
Hey, Liz.
Hey, Rob.
Where can people find us?
Say balls.
Balls.
Why'd you make her say that?
Why not?
Because you're gonna string it all together in editing and make you say something extremely
Tomato,
disgusting.
potato balls, tomato, pasta balls, tomato
Pasta
balls.
balls.
Your new song. It's your new song challenge for the year. Write Liz a song about balls.
Where he's been. Where have these balls been?
That's right. Have you seen my balls? Have you been my balls?
Have you been my balls?
Get ChatGPT. Did you get Artie to write it?
That's right. So where can people find us?
Yeah, where can people find? Oh no, they can also. Yeah, where can people find us?
I lost track. I got
know.
lost in pasta.
I thought the balls threw you off.
Oh, they always throw me off.
Say the website.
The website, right. atbanter.com, yo.
Hey, they can also drop us an email if they so desire at cowbell@atbanter.com. I don't know if I like this new style that you have now with the dinner, like it sounds like a dinner bell.
I am
strike
in
you-
control of the
I know.
cowbell, sir.
I know. Listen, you're the musician. You're the conductor when it comes to the cowbell. So,
I'll change it up for you next week.
God. Okay. They can. Where else can they find us? Somebody.
Facebook, Instagram, Mastodon.
Great. Excellent. Well,
Woohoo.
I think that's going to about do it for us this week. Big thanks, of course, to Garrett and Rick for joining us. And we will see everybody next week.
This podcast has been brought to you by Canadian Assistive Technology, providing low vision and blindness solutions, as well as physical access solutions and augmentative communication aids across Canada. Find us online at www.canastech.com, or if you're in the Vancouver Lower Mainland, visit our storefront at number 106 828 West 8th Avenue in Vancouver. That's one block off Broadway at Willow. You can reach us by phone toll-free at 1-844-795-8324 or by email at sales@canastech.com.